You may want to read about Idi Amin. I'm not sure, but I think these are white storks. They're huge. Some of them have a wingspan of 8 feet. They're migratory, and on their way south years ago, they settled here, you see, because they're also carnivores, meat eaters. And they feasted on the bodies of torture victims thrown in the street by Idi Amin's death squads. Now they're part of the landscape. I didn't go to Uganda as a reporter, just a curious traveler. But that's impossible here. Impossible not to be drawn into something deeper, darker. It's estimated that as many as 500,000 people were murdered by the regime. So how's that affected the people that survived? The Nakasero market is what you'd find in a small village, but here, scaled to a sprawling urban shopping mall, with much of the same merchandise.
Are they good? How do you call that? No, don't put
The taxi park may look like chaos, but it's a really well-organized system that served as the country's transportation hub for more than half a century.
How do you know where to park? How do you know where to put your taxi? How do you know where to put your taxi?
And the neighborhood barber told me he'd had the same spot.
No, 78.
78?
Yes.
Ah.
It's my yeah.
Always at the same corner?
Yes, the same pictures.
Ah, I see.
This has tell us where I paved them to.
There's nightlife. And there's street life. It's where you find the zeitgeist.
Okay. Good. So tell me about your organization.
We make deals with the Europeans and those who are in need of anything they want.
Is that? But the truth is, instead of pursuing business deals, it seemed they spent most of their time at the gym.
On the national squad of Uganda.
Would you like to be a professional boxer? Is that true?
Yeah.
See, the week before I'd been in the South, a little border town in a region decimated by AIDS. Whole villages wiped out. And it's the cruelest irony that when the army came from Tanzania to drive out Idi Amin, they came in on this highway and brought AIDS along with them. And when I was there in 1991, government outreach had drastically reduced the spread, but I could do little to help these guys, coming of age in a world defined by war and disease.
Any kind of business deal?
Any kind of business.
Yeah, so, okay, I decided to head north, where I'd heard there was fighting. Someone had given me the name of a Catholic priest who was documenting human rights abuses, and of course I felt I was obliged to go. This is the town of Mbali. From here, I was told I could take a taxi, a bush taxi, north for about a day to find that priest.
So they say the taxis, they've been attacked by rebels?
Yeah.
And the buses? What?
You want to see them?
Do I want to see them?
Yeah.
The rebels?
Yeah, crazy white men are always drawn here. For thousands of years, this was darkest Africa. Uncharted jungle, populated by creatures from children's nightmares.
Where 90% of the population in Uganda live in the rural areas.
And they're isolated, living much as they have for centuries. And yeah, there was a war going on up north, but you wouldn't hear about it because reporters can't get to these parts. At the national radio, the budget's so tight, they have to use the same tape.
2 years now. I've been using it for 2 years now.
See, strangle the media, block the information flow, create chaos. That's how you stay in power. There was a play at the National Theater called 30 Years of Bananas.
By the way, I was living here.
And the writer, Alex Mukulu, remembers months spent running.
Because they would tell us that the soldiers are coming from this way. And then we would run. And then the next day they would tell us, now it is coming from there, coming from there. Then we would run going upwards. So we spent days and weeks, just running up and down the streets,
Changed so much of our whole attitude to life. What fascinates me today is that we are still saying.
Kasolina Matovu was a professor of linguistics and champion of children's rights, known to her students as Mama Matovu. Well, this was my destination, the town of Soroti. I wish I could show you more, but actually, I had the camera inside a plastic bag because I'd just been told by the army, get out of town. See, I got in the night before. I really could have used a beer, but the bar was filled with teenage soldiers carrying guns and getting drunk. Well, I'm not sure who the previous guest was, but indications of blood smears on the wall and something darker than the nightstand. Maybe I shouldn't have opened it. I don't know.
Something very, very sad happened.
What?
There was a man who used to stay in that house of ours. Last evening he died. He died of AIDS.
Look, next morning I went to see the priest. He was scared, but before he talked to me, he wanted me to clear it with the commandant, who was very nice. It was his security chief who smoked a cigarette like 1940s bad guys. He explained calmly that if I were caught using my camera, it could be as dangerous as carrying a gun. And he concluded by saying calmly, I should be on the next taxi headed south.